Alright, guys, we are here with Tactical Ferrets, who is taking an interest in weights. Because obviously today we do have a monthly report. So just for the highlighted version, Fez has worked out how heavy a javelin would be in real life, and this is obviously going to be dry weight. So what is the total weight of the javelin in real life, Fez? Do you think?
Depends. Do you want to end metric tons?
Yeah, metric tons.
Grams?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. 109,860.179 metric tons.
Right. So in other words, a shit ton of weight. And this is why the ships aren't designed to go into orbit, obviously.
Yeah, but if you want to make it sound even more cooler, it weighs 109 billion grams.
Okay. But no one would put it as grams. All right. So let's jump into the monthly report. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through these sections, and we're going to read them out part by part, and then obviously we'll have a quick discussion about it after. So the first one that is up is AI content. Throughout October, the AI content team progressed with the vendor and the Patreon behaviors, realizing the full flow of the NPCs ordering, carrying, and consuming food and drinks. This gives them the sense of a life and purpose, as they are always busy doing something. Progress continued with the utility behavior, with AI characters opening crates, taking out items, putting items in. This was a surprisingly complex task, but the various elements are now working well together. Other tasks involve polishing the quartermaster behavior, making animation poses updates, setting up welding lines, overhauling documentation, and prototyping food eating. Alright, on AI content, Fez, anything you want to add? Anything you're interested in?
Not really.
No. So obviously this is obviously just to make it look more immersive. Let's face it. So when you go through, they'll be doing stuff for like eating and drinking and opening crates and stuff like that. AI features. Last month, the AI animation continued to refine Vandal execution animations to ensure they're perceived as strong and impactful from the first-person perspective. Better suited to be played on the spot if the attack occurs in the cramped space, and more believable to be reflected by the player to allow players to escape or attack once deflected. On the perception side, perception system side, the AI team implemented functionality to allow them to rate and respond to disruptions, which are unexpected scenarios that can be resolved. For example, the lights of a room turning on or off, an engine being disabled. Players can use this mechanic to try to disrupt NPCs' behaviors when they haven't been detected, giving them the opportunity to better infiltrate the level by avoiding patrols and sentries. Players can also use distractions, actions that trigger auto-simulants, such as throwing an object to cause NPCs to leave their posts to investigate. Quote, we had to ensure that these events are propagated out to all of the agents within the appropriate areas, that they are handled by the perception system rated against the current threat level, and that the correct behaviors are implemented to resolve the disruptions. The resolution may involve agents going to investigate the source of the disruption, or alternatively, if there are too many disruptions have occurred, to increase their alert level. This means that they may take out their weapon, say specific alert level wildlines, or respond quicker to subsequent events. We've also had to take into their consideration the immediate source of the disruption may not be what the NPC wants to investigate. For example, the agent may perceive that a light goes out, but they want to investigate the light switch which controls the light. Ultimately, they do not encourage. If they do not encounter the player, turn the light back on. AI feature teams. October also saw the AI implementation, rocket launcher, and railgun handling. Oh god, we're giving rocket launchers and railguns to the AI. For rocket launchers.
Oh no, yeah, that's gonna be a huge problem.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm going to give a very fast example as to why. The other day, me and my friends were doing Nine Tails,
Mm-hmm.
and we were transporting medical supplies.
Yep.
Somebody was camping the landing zone where you have to go in and get the medical supplies. I
Mm-hmm.
was flying the M2,
Mm-hmm.
and three rockets hit me from a shoulder mounted rocket launcher, and it turned my ship red.
Mm.
So yeah, and railguns can a 2 or 3 tap a cutting black.
So, October also saw AI implementation of rocket launchers and railgun handling. Rocket launchers, NPCs have to consider if the shot will cause explosive splash damage to friendly agents.
Oh.
So this check can be disabled using the friendly fire trait to enable more reckless enemies. For the railgun, they changed how the behavior works in cover. Now NPCs will start to charge the weapon while in cover before emerging to fire. For both these weapons, the team disabled the standard check to see if the weapon can hit the target, so enemies will continue to fire the target even when in cover. This allows the player to see that these weapons are being fired nearby and respond accordingly rather than being immediately hit upon leaving cover. As a part of this work, they also reviewed the existence shouldering weapon animations. Continuing with the weapon usage, AI featured implementation. Now NPCs pick up weapons and animations during combat. Enemies under the same animation constraints of their player, requiring them to conserve it and use other weapons when they run out. NPCs will evaluate the best course of action in this situation, including switching to their secondary weapon, picking up animation, or finding new weapons altogether. When looking for animation, they could take it from the boxes or out of loose weapons, from stowed weapons, or dead on the incapacitated characters. When looking for weapons, they should get them from the racks, find them from the area, or take them from the other characters. To implement this, weapons were set up as usables, which allows the AI to search for the best usable that can be provided, ammo, or a weapon. Team had to modify the usable system slightly, including adding support for usables that supply themselves, loose ammo or weapons, to ensure that the usable assignment position are correctly aligned with gravity when the weapon or ammo falls. For non-combat AI, the team worked on function to support NPCs moving cargo from one location to another, including picking up crates, stacking them on a trolley, moving the trolley to a destination, such as a cargo hold, and then taking them off the trolley and restacking them. That sounds like for cargo refactor. The existing prototype was adopted with the new tech to provide behaviors that can be used in various locations to bring them to life. That definitely sounds like it's AI for cargo refactor. They also refined their tools to generate better quality cover. This includes making cover generation more robust to edge causes and supporting recognition of cover at a certain distance from identifying cover edge. This allows cover to be generated in greater range of assets. Finally, the AI feature took the first steps towards implementing Buddy AI that will support gameplay where the player is accompanied by one or more characters. To begin with, this made the rapid prototype feature some of the functionality that may be required to generate conversations about what the final form of this would be and how it would be fit into gameplay. Alright, so there's a lot when it came to AI. Personally, I am really interested in them with the animations and like the finding cover, finding weapons, finding replacement ammo, finding different weapons. But also, I'm interested in them going through and doing the finding like boxes, putting them on trolleys and unloading them, because I think that's cargo refactor. What do you think, Chris? What parts of AI were you interested in or scared of?
Well, I'm scared at the thought of the AIs having access to precision weapons like railguns.
Yeah, what's going to make ground infantry more ground infiltration more harder. You know, like you used to be able to pull up with an arrow and, you know, the AI wouldn't do anything about it. Now they're going to see the arrow and they're going to go, okay, I've got a rocket launcher, see ya.
Alright. Well, it looks like we're going to have to start bringing in heavier ground vehicles now.
That's not a bad thing. Alright, so finally on AI, I believe. Yeah, finally on AI, we have AI tech. So, last month, the AI tech team made several usable improvements to the Apollo sumption tool. This included updating the multigraph, which features folders and functions to allow organizations from the outline view. For example, the designers are now able to delete and move graphs to different folders directly from the outline view panel. They can also drag a node connection into an empty section of the graph and open a drop-down menu that allows them to create a new task. So, for anybody that doesn't know what this is basically them making workflows through flowcharts. You would have, for example, on the first one it would be go to item. Second one would be pick up item. Third one would be stow item. Fourth one, go to new location. Fifth one, retrieve item from stow. Sixth, store at location. That's a very basic, but to give you an idea. And basically each one of those is a flowchart or a box that is linked to the previous one. And basically the way AI goes through, and it just jumps from one to the other and follows it through order. That's what they're basically talking about here, is just the ability to go through, move things around, delete things, and also go through and make it so that they can drag some stuff out to like a new item and make a new task. And it's just basically going through and just playing around and improving the AI tech, which is this Apollo sumption tool. Nothing you're going to see in the world, but obviously the tools are better for them to make better AI. So minor usability improvements were made too, including allowing the entries of outline view to collapse, the addition of a new filter field in the variable tree view. I have no idea what that is. Anyway. They also extended a graph view with a new custom view style. This currently used to allow Apollo to open, visualize, and edit the master graph files that were previously managed by hand. So that just sounds like they're just making Apollo more AI-y, more, yeah. For the perception, the team worked on the supporting audio noises levels and audio masking. Audio noise levels ensures the audio simulation doesn't surpass the basic background noise and won't be heard by listeners. New tools are implemented to allow the designers to configure the audio noise level in the area and type of sounds that should be considered normal in that area. This sounds like they're just going through and just playing around with audio cues, making things like background noise going through, so when you walk into a bar you hear like chatter and stuff like that. But the biggest thing about it is that this is also making it so that the audio levels won't peak or valley or bottom out or anything like that. So when you go in, that should be a constant level. Audio masking ensures a particular audio similar are not perceived as anomalous. For example, explosions in a field where fireworks are tested. This allows players to use the environment as audio cover when performing actions. For example, firing weapons near a shooting range as a not to alert NPCs. So that basically means that your audio will also be able to mask the background noises. So for example, if you're going around taking out a whole bunch of NPCs and you're right near a great big cannon that keeps firing, they obviously won't hear your little AK-47 or whatever it may be, P8 or whatever, while the audio cannon is firing, because guess what? The audio cannon is louder.
Nice.
The team implemented light extensions to action areas. These enabled the designers to link light groups at an area and automatically calculate whether the state of the environment should be light or dark. This impacts the time NPCs require per serve to target, making it easier to stay hidden in darker areas. This is just you hiding in shadows, which is obviously them trying to see you and whether they can or can't see you. AI tech also extended the system that allows visibility of large objects such as vehicles. So this is them obviously going through and finding so that AI can see a vehicle and possibly use it. Large vehicles can be seen at further distances, but we need to avoid approaches that cost too much to the CPU, such as doing recasting for long distances. To prevent this, we now describe the visibility of a large object depending on the degree of visual angle. Basically, at which distance has specific sizes from the observer's perception. AI tech team. This allows the team to defer to discovery phase, which objects are within the range of large objects. This utilizes one query, which then allows each individual to correctly verify the occlusion of the object. The parameters of the visual field of view were also extended to be overridable based on the AI state. For example, allowing pilots to see at greater distance and visual target on foot characters. The team continued to extending navigation links to support two main functionalities. Firstly, they enabled using routing to function with the entity links to allow door panels that are linked to a door to be correctly used by NPCs. This will allow them to understand which panel they should use to trigger the right interaction. So this is them being able to open doors and stuff. Secondly, they were exposed to a way to define the cost of navlink based on specific conditions, such as increasing the cost of vaulting when a character isn't alerted or walking. Those costs allow the system to describe how preferable actions are from the NPC's perception. For example, a character wouldn't vault, which is a physical demeaning action, if not needed. No, I don't know. I kind of like vaulting over stuff just every now and then, just to really freak people out. Working began to properly allow NPCs to drive ground vehicles. So this is obviously what else. No. Yeah, so this is what I was saying about them being able to see vehicles and then being able to use it. The teams are currently verifying the setup of the selection of vehicles to use as reference. They are also setting up the code to switch to the right nav mesh when driving a vehicle and selecting the right path follower. Finally, for AI tech, the team worked on the location refactor, which involved integrating the current work into different streams to begin stabilizing bugs. They also experimented with the foot locker during the nav move and are currently verifying how to use this functionality on various aspects of locomotion, such as during sharp turns. They also implemented a first frame adjustment for the seamless transition code to improve the entering of usables. They'll also play a specific animation at specific locations with specific poses. I am filled with confidence the fact that we are giving AI railguns, rocket launchers, and vehicles to use.
If we have to do ground missions and we have to fight NPCs in the tanks, then I'm definitely going to be using the A1 to its full extent.
Well, this is the thing, right? Everybody complains about the AI standing on benches and standing on chairs and stuff like that, right? And that's obviously because of like server limits and stuff like that. But when they get the AI actually working and actually running properly, you're gonna get your ass handed to you. Like
trust me. I've been on a server where the AI was handling flawlessly, and I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm not doing this thing on my own.
So I did a bunker mission on my own with AI, and this is a server where the AI was flawless because it was a brand new server, I think. Anyway, I went in there, got shot within the first entrance. Right? Respawned, flew there in another ship, got shot again. Flew there again in a third ship, got shot again in the same location. I couldn't even get into the base. I was like going down the elevator and around the corner and getting shot. So then I activated a medical beacon. People in chat were laughing, and certain people in Discord were laughing. And then the medical guy turned up, and he died 3 more times. And then a third person turned up and died as well, trying to get both me and the medical guy back alive again. The AI was literally wiping the floor with us. Now, this was, what, about 12 months ago, Fizz?
Maybe.
Yeah, 12, 18 months ago. So, God knows what they're like now. But Ferrets and John were in the Discord with me, and I was losing my shit. Because I kept friggin' dying from the AI. It was bad. It was funny for you guys. But yeah, at the end of the day, the AI... Look, obviously, server tick rates and stuff like that is what's making them derpy at the moment. Soon server meshing and stuff like that comes in, and obviously a whole bunch of optimization and stuff, then obviously that should help that situation. And then people are going to be longing for the days where the AI was derpy and standing on chairs. But we'll see. Animation! So, before we jump into animation, AI. Anything else you want to add on AI, Fez, before we jump into animation?
When AI starts getting a good, I'm gonna create a movement called Ferret Lives Matter, and our main goal would be to get heavy equipment away from the use of the AIs. We're gonna create laws saying that the AIs can't use heavy equipment anymore. We're gonna get restrictions on those things, and we're gonna have a civil war. We should probably keep going.
Animation. Last month, the animation team began discussing bringing creatures into the PU. Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Our team. So we're going to get killed by creatures and AI. Which I suppose is still creatures, I suppose. But our team had just signed off on the rig for the first creature.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they've done the rigging.
Please don't let it be spiders.
Meaning they can finally start animating our first interactable creature animation team. The facial team progressed with AI working animations, including the bartender. They also worked on various performers from the IAU and gameplay for delivering a person from one location to another. So that is why they've brought in the E1 and the obviously the Genesis. So that is bringing in for AI to be transported from place to place and for that gameplay loop. But the biggest thing here is probably the creature animation. If they've done the rigging, that means they've worked out how it wants to walk, how it's going to walk and attack and stuff like that. And now they're just sort of like, so like for example, say it's a space cow. Or say it's a spider, just to make Fez a little happier. So they've worked out. So they've worked out how the spider is going to walk across the ground. They've worked out how it might sort of get back up on its back legs and sort of like attack. You know, all that sort of stuff. So at the end. So at the end of the day, obviously we don't know what this creature is. They don't say. But from what I've heard, we know that they're doing the space cow. We know they're doing the space crab. We know there's the space whale. Apparently also...
My guess is going to be the rock.
Yep, that's what I was just about to say. In the leaks, in the video, we heard about the animal, the creature that's in that shell that's going to stay in the caves. I am guessing that's probably the first creature we're going to get. So it's going to be like a shell creature or something like that, that lives in the caves and is probably going to be harmless. Yeah, looking forward to the first reactions to Fez finding one in the cave. All right. So apart from that, yeah, obviously I want creatures in the game. I want creatures in the universe. I've always said this. I even said this during CitizenCon. The lands look amazing. The bios feel amazing, but they just feel empty with obviously nothing in them. Right, so art characters. Last month, a character team delivered armor variances for security post-Korea. Production started on the Frontier workwear outfits and undersuits following work by character concept art team 2. And then obviously art ships. The ship team progressed with the Argo SV, moving the exterior through the final art concept stage. So that's obviously the Argo with the tractor beam, I presume, isn't it? The Argo SRV? Is that what the tractor beam?
The SRV?
Yeah.
Yes, that's basically the
tow
space truck, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Alright, so community. Early in October, community teams supported Dev by the VAR. Day of the VAR, sorry. The verses take on Halloween. Citizens hunted down in-game masks, picked up ghoulish green paints for Drake ships, and entered pumpkin carving and trick-or-treat video contests. The team then worked on the Digital CitizenCon 2022 alongside developer panels, and they unveiled their new community hub and supporter of the ship team with their new Pick a Ship challenge. Each individual panel and the full show are available to watch. Footage following the show, the Atmo Esports hosted Barber Bash, a community-led event where players took on developers in a STV race across Microtech. Following its reveal during CitizenCon, the team released its Crusader Spirit Q&A, with devs answering the community's question on the new concept ship. The community team...
Yeah, I would also would like to tell you, I don't know if we went over this or not, but they have entered active development though.
Yeah, I think that's about to come up. New concept ship. The community team also continued their Bar Citizen World Tour, visiting Chicago, New Jersey, Paris, and Madrid. They also had one over in Chicago, didn't they?
That's coming up this week, and I won't be able to go because I don't have money.
Right. As always, the team wants you to know that your hospitality and warm welcome were greatly appreciated. We love getting to make new friends and celebrate Star Citizen with all of you. We'll be visiting even more Bar Citizen events in the coming months. Stay tuned, community team. Right, so obviously not a lot on the community thing to touch on, really. It's great that obviously they're putting the ship into active development. I believe that's further down the thing now. But at the end of the day, it's good to see that the spirit and all those sort of things were obviously gone through and being developed and that they're doing a lot of stuff with the community. Before we jump into Engine, anything you want to add on community?
Give.
Alright. Alright, so let's jump into engine. In October, the physics team worked on various improvements, including brush visualizations, which were put into the queues for 32 entries, each of forced and to be processed in parallel. Spawned batch finalizations was reworked and waited for all the brush archetypes for the material clones to be fully physicalized before finally and spawning entities. And the root spawning batch can now be queried from outside the entity system. A physics event was added for the cluster breakage, along with the entity event that detaches and corresponding compound entity. Additionally, various optimizations were made, improve low-level data access to reduce congestion. Also, the physics environment is no longer woken during the bulk destruction of brushes unless they have a collider. Lastly, several stalls during entity deletion, as well as network aspects of breakage, were fixed. So when they're talking about breakage here, guys, they're talking about the fact that when you walk through an area and you walk through like a brushland, you will actually have like tree deformation and stuff like that.
Which means a tracking.
Yeah.
Of players, maybe.
Yep. Yep, definitely.
Interesting.
On the render, more progress was made on Gen 12's transitions. So this is obviously what we want to hear. A lot of work was done on particulars. Among other things, lighting at the stage was rewritten to make use of the material permutation cache, and a lot of the code during the GPU particle systems was refactored and cleaned up. The particle submission code and its PSO management were rewritten as well. Furthermore, Light insists that they now manage per scene pass, which will eventually help to simplify the titling shading stage. Additionally, OPEC sun shadows for gas clouds, image ghosting, various game posting effects, water droplets, flashbangs, ocular migraine, blood vision, the projectile manager, RTT support function, and a rendering target debug viz were ported to Gen 12. Support for transient scene render passes was complete, and collision checks for resource stats optimization and cleanups were made all around. Regarding atmosphere and volumetric cloud, improvements were made to Gen 12 code by adopting the transient pass made available in September. Furthermore, a preview mode was implemented to help lighting artists set up planet atmospheres. On the core engine, the team made an additional improvements to entity lifetime management. This involves the adding code to group objects for life management and how entity deletion is handled on stream out. All legacy entity lifetime code was removed. The entity allocator was changed to be page-based. In-engine filing mapping support was completed, i.e. faster PK file access. Initial setups were done to run all game code through what you call use or to remove unnecessary header dependencies, which should ultimately lead to faster increment and compile times. Lastly, in case of failed memory allocations, it's now possible to identify relevant code owners and list them in a bug report, automatically speeding up bug processing. The remaining of the time was spent supporting Alpha 3.18 and Live PU. Basically, in this, guys, a lot of stuff of work was done for Gen 12, including clouds, effects like lighting effects like flashbangs and sun rays and sunlight and all that sort of stuff. We know from when they were talking about Gen 12 that the biggest items of Gen 12 have been done, and it's basically the downhill slope now towards the finish line. So they are trying to get Gen 12 done by 318. No guarantees, but that's what they're trying for. Any comments, Fez, on Gen 12 stuff? Engine stuff?
Actually, no, not yet.
Features Arena Commander. Okay. The engineering team began the month with a quality of life and bug fixes, then add an additional post-game score awards and fix the bleed out damage type. The team finished its integration of Alpha 318's deliverables into game dev with some minor items pending on that will be addressed later. They fixed an issue with the test runner in cases where the actor dies and the acted Jericho Station and the 4 race maps to the back end, which designed to also simulate levels and records for. Support continued for the radar and scanning of Squadron 42. Part of the team supported an issue with vehicles not exploding upon death. Okay. We know the vehicles won't explode upon death always, because at the end of the day, this is why they want derelicts. The new concept was made for the dual mode pre-game as the team shifts Arena Commander's focus to being the primary competitive rank mode. The new pre-game allows players to select from multiple ships outside of their selected one from the front end, as seeing what their opponents has picked. This will act as the game's initial draft system. Following community feedback, additional ways to improve dual mode itself were discussed and tasked. We're very pleased that the team's direction already matches public opinions. Every topic and issue brought up by them had already been discussed and scheduled by ACFT, the Arena Commander feature team. Features additions and bug fixing continued for the new Arena Commander 1.5 front end, including video backgrounds and per game mode. The team also explored how to implement the first deliverables to the new front end, including changes to the loadout and how to make the scene feel more like a simulation. Design finished the initial pass on 5 new racetracks: Snake Pit, Icebreaker, Rotary Station, Dunlow Derby, and the Lawville Gateways. A new dogfighting map, Jericho Station, was successfully play tested and is planned for an upcoming patch. Alright, so Arena Commander feature team, or the Arena Commander feature. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, sounds like they're trying to get into
racing,
the competitive side.
Yeah. Sounds like racing, racetracks, and just like flying racing and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's face it, Arena Commander is long overdue for a fix-up.
Sure.
So it's good to see them doing that. Although personally, I'd like to see what happened to, the TOE, Theatres of War. But anyway, let's get going. Features, characters, and weapons, because we're about halfway through it. Oh god. Last month, the feature team improved various existing features, including the ability to vault or mandle over a ledge, which now can be triggered mid-jump or fall. This adds further options for level designers when considering on-foot traversal puzzles. Players can now look up as well and down as well, moving on ladders to help them see where they're going. If they stop, they can look 360 degrees. This is done by creating an idle animation with 360 degree pose. The game then picks the frame from the asset that matches the player's yaw relative to the ladder. This becomes the base idle on top of which the team can then build other animations. For example, being able to jump away from the ladder in the facing direction. The ability to move all items from one inventory to another is now final in turn test sweeps. Cool. Ability to move all items from one inventory to another. Is that like a move all items button?
Yes.
Cool. A number of the feature team have been working on were on show during CitizenCon. We really appreciate all the positive feedback. What? Is that English? a number of the feature teams have been working on were I have no idea.
Right. Words are hard, apparently.
Yeah, so that's the character and weapons. We'll go through to the gameplay features as well. In the US, work continued on the initial implementation of the cargo refactor. Yay!
All right.
And a new commodity kiosk AI for the Alpha 3.8. This will affect buying, selling, and moving single SUC resource cargo containers with the tractor beam after purchase and outside the green zones. Gameplay features also continue to support buying and selling of FPS refillables, MRC containers, and the containers created by the Vulture and the Reclaimer. So there's the commodities image there. So it shows you your cargo grid, and obviously it has like 0 of 40 SCU because obviously the ship's empty. And I presume there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 32. Yeah, so there's each dot represents 1 SCU. So if your ship is 39 out of 40 for SCU, 39 out of the 40 dots will be filled. Then they have a in demand, not demand, and no market. Then on the other side we have the ship inventory, we have the supply and then demand, and then we have the list of in demand items. Okay, cool. Yeah. Alright. Updates were made to the prison, including kiosks, which receives a new gameplay items. Alongside this, the setup and inventories were adjusted across all shops for new commodities that come with the cargo refactor. They also updated the shops to support IAE merchandise. The shop setup for Pyro began is ongoing. UI screens for the commodity kiosks, mission manager, and bounty hunting poses progress too. Planning and documentation began for freight elevators and subsequent cargo refactors updates, which will begin in Q4 of 2022. Documentation and the investigation began into multi and large container cargo delivery missions that could coincide with the delivery of a T1 cargo. So that sounds like we're going to be going through and just doing more than just the single box deliveries. Sounds like
nice.
It's going to be large containers as well. That's interesting.
Nice.
The Manchester and Frankfurt-based teams progressed with hull scraping, adding the finishing touches to quality of life improvements for its Balance Plus. Additional time was also put into the fresh derelict harvestables that can spawn in space and make them look more worn and authentic. They also worked with the Montreal team and added They also worked with the Montreal team to add some not clearly identifiable pieces to debris fields and help the US team with cargo refactor. The team's work on gravity and life support is approaching final. Rooms. With the remainder of the work on resource management system that will bring it all together. I am looking forward to rooms because we need it for the machinima. So that is interesting. Apart from that, obviously, them going through working on derelicts and stuff like that. It's obviously interesting. But the biggest thing for me out of all this was rooms, actually, probably. What about you? What out of all this was interesting to you?
Definitely cargo refactoring.
Yeah, that's another big thing too, I know. Alright, feature missions. Mission features added final pass to various missions, including the new ending to the prison escape that will add further excitement and challenge. They then worked with the art to further expand the Jumptown drug lab. It has doubled in size and includes a second entrance, second drug dispenser, and multiple windows and skylights to see inside. To improve gameplay on the interior, we made it circular and removed most of the doors for the longer sights. Yeah, for the doors for the longer lines. Mission feature team. Trespassers were also updated as to lawful trespassers, and entering hostile areas is now different. The name of the org in control of the area is also shown upon entering. Oh, interesting. And once access to the area is revoked at the end of the mission, players are now shown a countdown to which they will be trespassers should they remain. Finally, bugs relating to crime stat and ship collisions were identified and fixed. So, for example, if Ninetales has taken over a base or a space station and you walk in, it will now tell you that it's operated by Ninetales. That's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. That's obviously setting up for Pyro mostly, though. And obviously, presumably, also security port Krayer. So when you go in there, it'll say it's owned by SBK or Crusader. Features, vehicles. Last month, vehicle features were support, docking, and transit features. Both continue to be long-term requirements for the team as they release poses new items, particularly with transit, which is likely to remain until the launch of the new transit system. Okay, new transit system. Okay, interesting. Multifunction display MFD progressed well with the weapons, emissions, and ship models submitted and working in game. The self-status screen has also made it into the Squadron 42 UI system, and tasks were stated for the comms and weapons self-status MFD. Work also began on the new version of Quantum Travel, with currently involving refactoring the current feature into preparation for rework. The team's AI support increased throughout October, mostly focused on the ship's versus player boss fight in Squadron 42, with the Cutlass now flying with its new behaviour on a spine attacking the player. They also supported the fight team with both AI and non-AI requests. Support for the Q4 ship released. Support for the Q4 ship release began too. So there's a new ship in quarter 4.
It I think it actually says a few of them actually.
Okay. We'll get back to this. With tuning currently in progress. Alongside this, the new ground vehicle tech was further developed and was enabled in coming sprint. Before this, issues with the Drake Mule driving like a tank will be resolved. Master modes progressed well in testing. The team confirmed the spread of SCM, boosts, and quantum travel are now testing racing ships and looking into how a balance disabling ships as they challenge between SCM and QT. We also used this opportunity to rebalance a lot of weapons, redoing the difference behaviors we had reset for the Alpha 314 rework. Vehicle feature 2. Of recourse, network support continues with the power conversions and initial work on the integration heat components. The team are currently setting out their design support for the features of a lot of the components will need converting once the tech work is complete. Alongside this, the aiming refactor is now almost complete, with the remaining work focusing on implementing the new UI. A big step was made on control surfaces. Now ships glide without thrusters have been reduced over the previous surface model. Say that again. A big step was made to control surfaces. Now ships gliding without thrusters has been reduced over the previous surface model. Okay.
So
they fall like a brick.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Finally, the new restrict area system passed its go go is now enabled. Finally, a new restricted area system. Okay. Alright, before we jump into graphics. Fez, vehicles, features.
Yes. All of it, just yes.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. I'm just going to say yes to all of it too, really. Obviously, the biggest thing for me is the support for the quarter 4 ship. So, I'm presuming we're going to get a a concept at the show at the IAE.
Oh yeah,
then,
for sure.
And then possibly released in quarter 4. Which actually would be IAE still. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, straight. Yeah, it'd be like, hey, this is coming out in 3.18. So it looks like we're getting a new ship for 3.18. Alright, so graphics and VFX programming and planet tech. Alright, so in October, the team continued to focus on damage maps, fixing missing additional damage on debris, incorrect damage map sizes, and inconsistencies between ship sizes. There was also spent investigating networking and persistence of debris. Further progress was made on porting gas clouds and CPU particles to Gen 12. The Gen 12 GPU Maker refactor was also completed. The same issues were fixed relating to the hair and hologram shaders. For the ongoing data pipeline refactor, the team continued working on skin files, allowing compact non-split files to be compiled or loaded. They also implemented progress groups in support of multiple input factors. Development of screen space shaders began, which involved adjusting ray tracing to account for thin objects. Work was also done on anti-alias lines for auxiliary geometry, edit, debug, or UI for the use of the star map. They also added new features for the UI mesh shader, multiple scaling textures, bi-tri-planetary projection smoothing, alongside enabling wetless effects to work with blood, sweat, and tears.
Nice.
So basically, your characters are going to have like water on their face from like humidity, sweat, obviously, and then like blood, for example, if they get like shot or damaged or whatever, so like that.
Nice.
Yeah, interesting. The team, like, are we really worried about Chris making like the metaverse here? Although
no, because it's going to be 10 times better than the metaverse.
Yeah,
so.
Facebook's in all sorts of trouble at the moment. The stock's crashed. The team closed out Ra Star verse 1 and fixing the remaining bugs and crashes raised by the content teams. There were also various fixes submitted for Rivers, and R&D began. Shush.
We're finally going to get our rivals.
Submitted for Rivers, and R&D began on water simulation and water render improvements.
I kind of like the whole researching our rivals a bit right there. I mean, that was actually good.
Yeah. You know, I can get you to read out the next one if you want. Alright, lighting. Lighting continued their work on Pyro, Lawville, IAE, Orison's Racetrack, Security Port Craya, and the derelict space settlements. Lawville received a lighting cleanup to improve certain areas, while the level as a whole was tidied up to bring back to its original intended state. They also closed out various previous locations to ensure that everything is up to scratch. And we got a photo of the racetrack there, which actually looks fantastic. So the Locations EU team continued to work on Pyro's rest stops, making great progress on the internals of the station. They moved the focus towards the station's external arms. Sorry. Work was also closed on a security port Craya, and progress was made on the AAE event halls and cargo. They continued their ongoing tasks of adding life to the landing zones too. Narrative. As the rush towards IAE Alpha 3.18 continued, the narrative team provided additional support to fix bugs and issues that aroused throughout playtesting. For example, IAE, they helped deliver new content that was recorded in recent motion capture sessions. This is particularly exciting as we were able to utilize one of the dedicated narratives designers to build the AI behavior to hand over design to implementation narrative team. Narrative also started working with mission features on the existing air traffic control behavior. This will help fix the problems with the existing behavior while also supporting the newest updates to the system, which will then be standardized for additional air traffic control characters and scripts in the future. They also continue to meet with the mission teams and develop the Investigate mission feature in Narrative CitizenCon video. After last month's push, the writers tasked were coming up with the simple mystery for a player to investigate and stress test for the fundamental system and see how scalable the mission could be. In addition, they provided tests for upcoming missions and open discussions on a handful of other mission types that will be oncoming for the new patches. The team worked closely with the design and UI teams on some of the upcoming mobiGlas apps that will be support in the new gameplay currently in development. Throughout October, the new content was added to the website, including Spectrum Spectator, that explored the history of CitizenCon, a portfolio spotlighting Setmans and the return of Old Jagger in the installation of the Far From Home. Finally, another installment of the Galactic articles were made their way out of achievements onto the other side. Way out of archives onto the other side. So this month's anniversary on CitizenCon marks 10 years worth of content that has made its way into Spectrum Dispatch section of the website. For the earliest days of the time capsule to Karl Marx, Kid Crimson, and the news updates that were weekly updates have been a great opportunity to dive deep into Star Citizen universe, so that we wanted to say thank you to all the enthusiasm and support over the years.
Yay.
Online Services, Montreal. Online Service team was spent October completing several remaining features, including new character repair, reset process, and how in-game transactions are handled. They also improved the new login flow process to allow for faster entry into the game where the player has pre-entitled account.
Nice.
My cats decided to come and visit. As well as a new entry service that will resubmit a message back to the service application for reattempt. Lastly, the team made a quality of life update that sorts in the in-game friends list alphabetically. This is planned to be included in Alpha 3.18. Thank God the friends list is now going to be sorted by alphabetical.
Finally.
Yeah, I was sick. I was scrolling through the friends list to try and find when you joined.
Right.
Or John or any of the other guys from the mission.
It's official. Friends list is not like ferrets. It's official.
Live Tools, Montreal. Throughout October, the Live Tool teams focused on new features relating to persistent entity streaming, specifically the implementation of the new login flow module in the Network Operations Center. This module gathers different features, including the ability to manage, entitle, and rentals. Also provides more detailed and precise information that users are able to log in details of the player, enabling the detection and analysis of issues. So basically, it sounds like they're helping with PES.
Yay.
Manage, entertain, yeah. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but apparently they're working with PES. Turbulent, web platform. Turbulent team began the month supporting CitizenCon 2952, including the main event, Greycat STV, and the Crusader sprint pages. The team continued to make improvements to CMS tool, Alexandria, which supports bespoke web pages, and the latest improvements around the Explore video module, enabling it to add points to interest to video content. A grid module was also created to give another way to display information. Multiple teams from Turbulent continued the IAE promotion, coming into November. For example, with the new web skin was developed to emulate the Expo Hall, and improvements were made to the promotional ship wall. Turbulence design team focused on generating brand alignment across the website, losing some of the legacy UI elements and bringing in a new look. One of Turbulence's biggest launches in October was the release of the upcoming Community Hub. The Community Hub will emerge slowly as the most relevant place to see content, events, and what's on other community members are live streaming or creating. As more features come online, it will begin to emerge as a social media platform where you can follow your favorite creators and never miss out on an in-game live event. Finally, the team continued to rework the roles and access controls for improved security. Two more, Fez! UI!
Alright.
Yeah, this is going to be over an hour-long video. UI, the team continued developing the new star map.
Finally.
Long overdue.
It's only been like, what, 2 years?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that was relying on it, but yeah.
True.
I was watching a guy who was not favourable to Star Citizen in the past.
Hater?
He wasn't a hater, but he took shots. Anyway, he had so many people ask him to play Star Citizen that he actually went through and he actually played it a couple of days ago, actually. And he actually enjoyed himself. Now, obviously, there were issues. He was trying to run at 2K instead of 4K, and whenever he did that, it screwed up the screen res, and his screen was all zoomed in or whatever. There were issues there. But at the end of the day, he generally had a lot of fun, and as usual, when anybody is new to Star Citizen, the community basically turns it into a ship show. So he was looking at the C2, he was looking at although the Star Runner never turned up, but the C2, he looked at the Carrack, he looked at the 890 Jump, and all these sort of ships. But it's always cringe for me. Like, I always have like a cringe in my spine whenever new people open the star map, because I know that's the one thing that needs to be basically fixed, and I want people to have a good experience with the game for their first playthrough, and them loading the star map is one of the things that makes me worried. Now, admittedly, he actually did a really good job. He does a better job with the star map than I do. There were a couple of issues, but generally it was fine. But at the end of the day, whenever I see a new person play, that's the one thing that makes me go, like, oh, this could go bad, is them opening the star map. So if we get the new star map in sooner rather than later, I think that would be better. So the UI team continued developing the new star map, particular to the underlying tech, allowing them to easily display it in different locations. For example, in ships, mobiGlas, and the potential screen in levels. They also updated the control and improvement to look of planets. This is setting up your chronograph station in your Carrack. Yeah. So your cryptography station will actually go through and display the star map like what you see in your mobiGlas, but on a bigger scale. Alongside working with interaction prompts at CitizenCon, UI continued to adopt the bug fixing the loadout system to ensure it works with persistent streaming. Now, as for the maps and star map, they did mention it at the CitizenCon 2-hour presentation with CR and I forget his name. Wasn't Glenn. Was it Glenn?
I don't know.
The other guy's name. Sorry, man, I forget your name. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's there was that 2-hour presentation where they went through and talked about the star map that they didn't show anything. I don't know if that bodes well for it coming anytime soon, because if they didn't have anything to show, then they're obviously still pretty early on in development. So I think it may be a 4.0 thing, maybe. VFX. October saw the VFX team complete their work on salvage and repair features. 2 vehicles continued through the VFX production phase, receiving effects of thrusters, damage, atmospheric re-entry, quantum travel, and shields. We'll talk about that in a sec. The team also implemented a task pool, which allows the artists to track various miscellaneous tasks that have been accumulated in the backlog. This typically consists of minor bugs and quality of life improvements, so it's been great to be able to focus on these things while continuing to support a major content and features VFX team. And we are done! Fez, new vehicles coming through VFX. Excited?
Nice.
What are your thoughts?
I can't wait for it. It just sounds like 2023 is just going to be a huge thing.
Yeah, obviously the biggest thing in 2022 is PES, persistent energy streaming. That's obviously the thing that we're mostly waiting on. Once that's done, then obviously all this other stuff like the maps and stuff like that is obviously going to be focused on. But at the moment, it's definitely seems like the teams are flat out hard at work. So yeah, I'm liking everything I'm hearing. There was nothing really in this that I was like, ugh, really. I'm glad the Arena Commander is getting some love. I'm loving the fact that they're bringing it more towards a simulation than a die in game sort of thing. And this is obviously setting up those simulation pods too. That are supposedly on the Carrack. On the Idris.
Supposedly.
Yeah. So obviously in the Idris you'll be able to go up to the simulation pods, and then I'll take you into things like Arena Commander or Marine Starring. But at the end of the day, yeah, obviously at the end of the day, everything they're working on here is interesting. There wasn't much talk of Pyro. I'm interested to see what this new creature is going to be. That's interesting to
Giant space spider. Watch.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm Australian. I'm used to killing spiders.
Well, if there ever is a spider, I'm just gonna bring in the freaking A1 and just drop all my bombs on that area first.
But apart from that, was there anything that really stood out to you regarding this, or was it just basically just mixed of everything? Or
A mix of everything. Some new ships. I can't wait for new ships.
Yeah, they were talking about 2 ships passing through the vehicle pipeline, as well as the new ship earlier. So that's 3. We actually went through that video, and we suggested there was 3 or 4 possible ships that we're going to be seeing at IAE. Seems like we're right on the money once again.
Maybe. We shall see.
Yeah, also I know a lot of people watched the video where we talked about this new ship. People are still insisting that it's a Drake ship.
Oh, maybe not. We don't know.
It could be. Yeah, it definitely could be. Although I was watching someone's video the other day. Last night I think it was. I wasn't sure if it was Space Tomato or Info Runners or someone like that. And they said that it was a Drake ship, but they also agreed with us that it could also be a MISC. So other creators are actually starting to come around to our line of thinking too. But yeah, at the end of the day, guys, let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below regarding this report. Personally, I love everything that's in there. I would have loved to hear more about creatures and that, and more about Gen 12, but we know they're obviously on the downhill run for that now. Hopefully they are getting that all done by 3.18. They are trying. No promises. But at the end of the day, obviously once Gen 12 is in, then we can start moving over to Vulkan and ray tracing and all that sort of stuff. Raycasting and all that sort of stuff.
I would love to see some more about what you call it, the map rework and cargo refactor.
Yeah, well, cargo refactor is actually coming up on Inside Star Citizen this week.
Oh, really? Nice. Okay, that's cool.
Remember when someone said a couple of weeks ago that it'd be within the first 3 weeks?
It gives me something to wake up to tomorrow then.
Yep. So at the end of the day, that'll be done. I believe that's Inside Star Citizen or Star Citizen Live. I'm pretty sure it's Inside Star Citizen actually. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's cargo. Let me actually double check that very quickly. It's not like this video is going to be short. So RSI and this week in Star Citizen. So Thursday is Inside Star Citizen. Another episode, continue behind the scenes discussing in video games. Inside, this time we're looking at the current progress of Cargo Refactor. Yay. Coming online in Alpha 3.18. And revisiting the Rastar tool. Discussing how its evolution since CitizenCon 2951. And seeing how it's been used to place new outposts throughout the certain system and Pyro system. So they're going to be talking about Refactor and also base building. Wrapping up on Friday, you'll then see an update to the subscriber vault and the new deliverables. On Friday, the shenanigans continue with another side of Star Citizen Live. The response to the new format has been heartwarming, and while we continue to fine-tune the formula, this week, the show will be another chance to discuss two different aspects of Star Citizen's continued development. Guests and topics are still being finalised, but you can 9 a.m. Pacific. I believe it's going to be the guys that were supposed to be on last week, but were off because of injury or sickness. I think it was sickness. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's yeah. So Star Citizen Live is the big one this week, which is going to talk about Rastar and also Refactor. So yeah. Alright guys, apart from that, like I said, let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Obviously, Ferretz's new channel link is in the description below. He got himself a customized link, as well as I do now. Thank you very much, Fizz. But at the end of the day, guys, let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Apart from that, guys, if you made it to the end, you're braver than I am. Fantastic. Have a great night. Enjoy yourself. You want to say bye, Fizz?
Bye, and see you on the next demonetized video.
Yeah, well, we won't be demonetized for much longer because we're about to hit 1,000 soon.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we're up to like 526, 528 or something. So, like and subscribe, guys. Have a great night. Enjoy, everybody.